This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here today joined by three very special guests, all the way from Short Hills Bench, Niagara. I have the Speck brothers, Matthew, Paul, and Daniel. How are the three of you today, gentlemen?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Gentlemen, today we're going to be tasting your Chardonnay Classic, the 2021 edition of this, your Henry of Pelham family estate under screw cap. How long has this been under screw cap for?
All right, we were the first in Canada to put a VQA wine under screw cap.
Oh, really?
VQA wasn't allowing it, so we had to make it a non-VQA to get it going, and then they got the rules changed. So I'm going to say somewhere in the 2000s.
Yeah, well, it was 2000. It was a Chardonnay who did that one. It wasn't this one. It was that was 90. It was 90. Yeah, 2003. Right, 2003. And it was only a couple years. I would say 2005.
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah.
No.
20 years.
We did quite a bit of experimenting. We did that by putting the same wine in cork and then the same wine in the screw cap. For Riesling and Chardonnay is what we focused on, and we left them in our cellars, and every year we pop them and do these tastings before we went into and put them, put it into the screw cap. And
it started with it was whites, aromatic whites, rosé, and that. So we made it on reds a little bit.
We made it a bit on reds, yeah.
2-3 years later, and then once you embrace the consistency of what we're getting by putting these wines under screw cap and not having the battle with cork suppliers, inconsistent supply, there was no turning back.
Now, but to make the evolution into Stelvin Lux kind of a little more attractive.
Yeah.
That out, I guess, for next year.
I can remember an Australian winemaker telling me this years and years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and saying, he moved all of his wines all the way across the range over to Stelvin simply because he never wanted someone to buy one of his premium wines, take it along to a dinner party. People wouldn't realize it was corked, but they'd say, well, what do you think of the wine? They go, nah, it's all right. So he'd probably never buy that wine again. None of the people around the table would buy that wine. So he would rather have that guarantee with the Stelvin. Now, this one here, I've just, having opened this and not having tasted it for some time, the freshness on this is really something else. It's just bursting with pear and apple and really quite lovely. And this recently was awarded, Wine Enthusiast magazine put it in its top 100 under $20, right?
It's awesome.
That's exciting. I mean, I think it highlights how much value there is.
Yeah.
There's a ton of really good deals out there. And it's nice to see an international publication acknowledging it. There was a lot of wines actually in the last year that we've seen in Wine Enthusiast, Decanter, and Wine and Spirits from Canada that are in Ontario. They're doing really well. It's a crazy thing to see here. We can't see your beautiful face there, Jamie. Just pop up there.
I don't know about the beautiful part, but okay. Now, which leads me to an interesting question. How important is that international recognition for you, and when did you start to get that?
We've been lucky. If you go back, we got some good stuff from Jancis back in the day and others, but I think
we won a fair amount of awards early in the 90s. And Vin Expo was like the Olympics of wine when it really was the prominent show. And we won some early awards for Chardonnay, Riesling, and my most favorite award we got at Vin Expo back in that period was when our reserve backbone award got a gold medal, and those were the days when we'd be pouring ice wine and it'd be lined up literally outside the airplane hangar to taste Niagara ice wine. And then we won this medal with back on the war, which some people were horrified about, but then we had a lineup of people from all over the world tasting that wine going, okay, I gotta try that. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time. We've been getting our wines out to the international. We also export quite a bit. We're in over 20 countries in the world, and so you ship a little bit here, a little bit there, and it starts to add up, and it just helps. Really helps. We get a lot of tourists from around the world, and I think it also just helps in our home market where some people are still not convinced of the quality and the value of Niagara VQA wines, and so sometimes having wine enthusiast or Jancis Robinson or Decanter, we've just gotten some great scores in Decanter, helps break down some of the myths.
I'm sure that that kind of international recognition also helps you when you're putting forward stuff to the LCBO as well, right?
They like it. I mean, Liquor Board has been a great supporter of our industry. I mean, I have to say, like, we have a great relationship there. But if it helps them sell the wines, that's great, right? And so, we definitely try and get those awards to them so they can help communicate it and help break down the barriers at home.
So let's get back to this wine. Tell us a little bit about the vinification of this particular wine.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing fancy here. It's our classic tier Chardonnay. So that means that it's gonna be a portion of this wine is the state fruit. That's gonna vary year to year, but it's gonna be somewhere in the, say, a third or so. The fruit will be the state, and the balance of the grapes will come from neighboring vineyards. Predominantly quite close to us, but we do source grapes across Niagara as well. So it's a little bit from Niagara Lake, and as far west as Beamsville. And then we have the opportunity then. So we're doing more than one vinification, more than one tank or batch, and then we're coming back to putting a blend together for final bottling. So it's going to get a range of vineyard sites, and the business the options to pick and choose depending on what the characteristics of each individual batch are.
We've been making this wine since 1988, so it's kind of evolved from. We used to call it Chardonnay sur Lie.
Yep.
Back a few years ago, because we used to age it on the lees in stainless steel to give it a little bit of mid-palate weight. And then that evolved into an unoaked Chardonnay, where we just made a very crisp, clean, simple is not the right word, but simple production of it. And we've sort of come back to adding a little bit of oak to it to just get a touch of oak. So that's been kind of the 30-year evolution of this wine, sort of back to the future.
I was about to actually ask you a question saying, would it be fair to say that this wine has gone through a few incarnations before it gets to where it is today? And I thought I was just making that up. So I'm glad you just agreed with me on that one.
Back to 1988.
We made like 80 cases of it because we could only get a couple tons. Our vineyard wasn't ready yet, so that was growing, but we bought that fruit from Lanco, I think.
Oh wow!
A million years ago, yeah, and so it's been a evolution to me. It's where I love, particularly Niagara Chardonnay, just this fresh green apples. Just a touch of oak to give it some roundness in the palate. It's and it's $16 a bottle. Like, I mean, it's free as far as
it's a very approachable wine for sure, and drinks very well by itself. But where would you see this at the dinner table?
To me, this is the most flexible. One of the. I mean, I have it on it pretty much with everything. I mean, it's, unless anything, chicken, pork.
What also is nice is that, in North America, we definitely drink wine as a cocktail, right? Like in other countries, they might start with beer or something else. And this wine with that little framing of oak, creating a nice contrast and spiking the fruit a bit. It actually makes for a nice pre-dinner drink as well. We drink Chardonnay in our house pretty much every day. You know, the Chardonnay is our go-to aperitif, I guess, and it fits there perfectly.
Well, it's very pleasant to be reintroduced to this wine because it's been a little while, a year or so. I think I'll be enjoying this particular Chardonnay this afternoon once I pick up our son from school, I believe. Not good. Probably the safest idea. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.